Hi, guys. You are welcome to another episode of In My Bag. In My Bag. What's in your bag? In my bag is my savings, my salary, my debt, my credit, my pension fund, my retirement annuity. What's in your bag? And I know that most of us have debt that we're trying to clear. Most of us are trying to pick up good money habits. We're trying to improve our relationship with money, and which is the purpose of this series In My Bag, where we have honest and vulnerable conversations regarding money, regarding the monetary blunders we've made, the monetary good habits we're trying to make or we're making to improve our financial position, right? So in the next few days, we're gonna have a rollout, right, of the two-pot system. It's been trending. I've been seeing those trends on TikTok where people say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, ningankuzi," meaning don't reprimand me regarding my money. I am withdrawing my money. I don't care who says what. And every time I see those type of, I know it's memes, some of them it's jokes, but some of them I know people are actually saying, you know what, when the time comes, I'm withdrawing my money. It makes me really sad because when you think about it, most of the people that are going to withdraw the money are people that are already in bad financial circumstances, meaning you probably have debt, or you're probably trying to withdraw that money to clear out certain things, or you probably have a low standard of living, or you already have a job that doesn't pay you well. So already you are at a disadvantage, right? Personally, I wouldn't recommend that you withdraw the money because remember, the financial choices we make right now impact generations after us, impact those that come after us. So if you decide to say you're going to withdraw your pension fund or you're going to finish your savings, whatever the case may be, think about your children, people that come after you. Think about your financial health at the time you retire, or think about the tax implications to the withdrawal of that money, right? I am going to get to points where I would say you can withdraw that money if that's the case. But most of us are probably going to withdraw that money. You're going to get like 22 grand, 25 grand, or less than. When you get that money, you're probably going to waste it on nothing. I mean, yes, it's your money, but do not fall trap into withdrawing that money and doing nothing with it, right? So before I go into the whole two-part system, I want to like share a bit of some wisdom in terms of like what a pension fund means, retirement annuity, provident fund. Because before we actually think of withdrawing money, you must understand why in the first place you're contributing to your pension fund, why in the first place you have a retirement annuity, why in the first place you have a provident fund, right? So that's your starting point. So every time we all get employment contracts, the first thing you want to do is just sign the employment contract. You don't care about the benefits because you're thinking, oh my God, I finally have a job in this bad economy. At least I'm going to pay for my bills. One of the things I would say, always try and negotiate as a benefit, negotiate a pension fund. When you negotiate a pension fund as a benefit, you get to put in a contribution, and your employer also puts in their contribution, and that amount, all of that amount, is put into an investment for a time whereby you go into pension or whereby you retire. Some people get to withdraw their money when they resign, right? Or when they get retrenched. It really depends. So always make sure that you negotiate for a pension fund as a benefit. If you're not winning in the negotiation and your employer is just not having it, make sure that after you've realized that you don't have the pension fund benefit, make sure that you go for a retirement annuity, because a retirement annuities, you can actually go independently and contribute independently. Well, unfortunately, with the pension fund, you can only contribute to a pension fund via an employer. So where both of your contributions are put together and put into a fund that would be invested or accumulate interest over time. Right. So now that we've negotiated getting a pension fund or started a retirement annuity, or you've negotiated to getting a pension fund or provident fund or getting a retirement annuity, that's out of the way. You need to understand what those things are, right? I got this definition of a pension fund from an old mutual article that I was reading, which says this is an employee benefit that commits the employer and the employee to make contributions to a pool of money that is set aside for the employee to sustain themselves at retirement, or once they go into retirement, or in an event where they are retrenched or they retire, or they are dismissed, right? So, like I said earlier on, pension funds, you contribute to them via your employer. So you can't have a pension fund individually as Yvonne and say, oh, I just want to have my own pension fund. You contribute via an employer. And with pension funds, it is very important that you're fully aware where your contributions are going, right? As a labor specialist, I've realized that we have like a big problem where some people don't know where their pension fund contributions are going. They don't even have a statement. Sometimes employers get away with actually not contributing to the pension fund. You find out at resignation or a dismissal that your employer was not contributing for a period of 3 years or 5 years, or there's a time where they skipped making contributions, yet they were deducting from your salary. So it's important to know where your funds are going. When you know where your funds are going, then you're able to request for a statement every other third month, I can say, or every other sixth month, just to check how your contributions are going and to see if there are any issues. If there are any issues, then you're able to have conversation with your employer to say, hey, I note that on such a month my contributions were not made. Please rectify same. But also, if you find yourself in a predicament where your employer was not fully contributing to your fund or to the agreed fund, whatever the case may be, then you are able to report them or lodge a complaint with the pension fund adjudicator. And unfortunately, guys, that's why I would say always be in check, always pay attention to where your money is going, whom it's invested with, how it's growing, how it's accumulating, because the pension fund adjudicator has a large sums of complaints every other month. So it means they're on a backlog. And with that being said, it means it would be very hard for you to get your assistance in the moment. So you may have to wait 6 months or even a year for your issue to be resolved, because after they investigate and they find that your employer is in the wrong, they issue an order. After issuing an order, if your employer does not comply, then it must be enforced in court. And getting court dates, it also takes another length of time. And you can't really put it on an agent basis for a pension fund complaint. So always make sure that you actually are in check with what's happening with your finances, where the contributions are going. Always keep up, because it's easy to get scammed in this economy, or it's easy for your employer to lack and not contribute, or it's easy for wrong contributions to be made to the wrong fund. So always check your pay slips to see, okay, I'm contributing 500 to so and so provident fund or pension fund, and then my employer is also contributing 2% of that. And over the past 6 months, this is how my funds or my contributions have grown, right? So now that you have your pension fund and that's out of the way, you know what's going on with your funds. And I love that some funds have an app, or you can send a notification via WhatsApp to get a statement or whatever the case may be. So you can always go on the app and check to say, okay, this is what's happening, this is my statement, this is my fund certificate, and then you're able to even submit it if you need to submit it for SARS or whatever the case may be. And if you don't have the option of a pension fund, Provident fund, you can opt for a retirement annuity, which is very independent. It's independent in the sense that you can make personal contributions, but once your money is in, you can't just withdraw it because you've resigned. You have to wait for age 55. Right. So with retirement annuities, you can opt for monthly contributions. If not monthly contributions, you can opt for one lump sum, like let's say 10,000 rand, and then that 10,000 rand will just keep growing, or you'll just keep on putting lump sum as time goes on. So I would recommend that as a person, you don't just you need to make sure it's either you have a pension fund or retirement annuity. Don't have none of them. Please, don't be that person who doesn't have any of them, because when you retire, who's going to look after you? We're trying to break generational curses. We're trying to build wealth. And because we're trying to build wealth, it's important that after retirement, you're not a burden to your children or to your grandchildren. You're able to look after yourself with the money that you have set aside, right? Then brings me to the big point, the big chat, right? The two-pot system, which is actually not a two-pot system. It's a three-pot system for people that are already registered with a provident fund or a pension fund. But if you've never had a pension fund, you've never had a provident fund, commencing from 1 September 2024, it will be a two-pot system, which is 1/3 goes into savings and then the 2/3 go into your retirement. The 2/3, you will never touch them until you retire, or maybe when you die and then your beneficiaries claim it and etc. But you are not able to touch the 2/3. And then the 1/3 is your savings, which will be able to access every financial year. So like right now, our financial year started from February, it's going to end in March. So in this period, you can only withdraw once. So if you withdraw your money in October, which I'm not saying you should, in October, the next time you're able to withdraw it is probably in June. So how it's going to work, unfortunately, if you're just starting off right now with your contributions and your contributions are, say, maybe 2,000 Rand, two-thirds is going to go into retirement and the one-third is going to go into your savings. So into those savings, it means you have less than 1,000 Rand, so which means you won't be able to withdraw. You can only withdraw if the amount is between 2,000 to 30,000. So you can't withdraw beyond 30,000. No matter how much you have into your savings, you can only withdraw maximum of 30, minimum of 2,000 Rand, right? And then again, in that withdrawal moment or that withdrawal process, when you withdraw 30,000 Rand, it is subject to tax implication. You are probably going to be taxed at 26%, which is the marginal tax rate. And then it is also subject to admin fees. And it is also subject, if you owe SARS, guys, if you owe SARS, if you're going to, let's say you owe SARS 25 grand, or maybe let's say 10 grand, and you withdraw 30 grand. SARS is going to take its 10 grand before it gives you your money. So if you owe SARS, they are entitled to take whatever you owe them, tax you on the amount, and then give you whatever it's left over. One of the reasons why I would say it's not worth it withdrawing every other year or every other time just because you feel like it's your money is because these tax implications over time, you're basically almost wasting your money in a way. Rather, you withdraw all at once and then you just have this one tax amount. As opposed, imagine, calculate, let's say you're going to retire maybe, let me speak for me. I'm probably going to only retire in the next, 20, 25 years. And by that time, if I'm withdrawing every single year, imagine the amount I would have lost out in tax fees. So I wouldn't recommend that you withdraw from your savings. But if you think maybe you've got an emergency or you want to withdraw to put into an aggressive interest accumulating investment, then you can do that. But don't withdraw to take yourself to Bali, to take yourself to Dubai, or to just be on vibes. I think I would say you can actually withdraw if it's going to pay interest for you, or if it is for a good important cause, or if maybe you want to start a business, or if you want to accumulate it, or if maybe there's a debt, maybe you've got a debt of 15, maybe 5,000 Rand, and it's aggressively accumulating interest and you would rather pay it off as opposed to paying it with higher interest, then you can do that, but don't withdraw for vibes. And then the first pool, which applies to the people that have the three pools, which is the vested pool that has all your money that you would have contributed until, say, 31 August, which is post 1 September. Those people, you can actually withdraw all your money at a point where you maybe resign, you get retrenched, or you are dismissed from work. So if you're dismissed, you resign, or you are retrenched, you can be able to withdraw that money all at once. And then another purpose of that vested pool, it's also still accumulating interest, by the way. It's not because it's set aside so nothing is happening to it. So it's set aside as what you would have contributed, right? But it's also accumulating interest. So as it accumulates interest, you're actually also benefiting. So by the time you withdraw all of it, it would have accumulated interest and it doesn't remain constant or remain the same. And then another thing that you can do right now, say you've got in your vested pool, you've got 100,000 Rand, and then you can move from your invested pool, your vested pool, you can move some money into your savings account. Say maybe you've got 100K, then you can move 50K into your savings account, or you can move it into the other pool. But you're able to move around the money. And then once you've moved, you can't directly withdraw. If you're still working and all of that, you can't directly withdraw from the vested pool automatically and getting max from it. What you need to do is to take from your vested pool an amount that is sufficient to move into the savings pool. Then from the savings pools, you're going to withdraw. I hope you get that. So vested pool is all your money you've contributed. At this point, after 1 September, you can take an amount of 30 grand and put it into your savings pool. And then that's where you're going to withdraw from. And you can only withdraw once. And then in terms of your Third pool, which is your retirement, you can never touch it until retirement. I hope that makes sense. And I hope you make an informed decision. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend that you withdraw your money because they're saying they're trying to save us because a lot of people do not have emergency funds. So it's going to serve as your emergency funds. And emergency means emergency, guys. Don't just withdraw your money because you're putting yourself 10 steps behind. By the time you retire, you don't want to be in a position whereby you're a burden to your children or you're a burden to society. At least you must have that amount of money that will help you look after yourself. And I've heard that apparently teachers and nurses have gotten, apparently there's a rollout. They've started completing the forms. Do not withdraw the money to support men you are not married to or men you meet in the streets. Don't be scammed, guys. Don't be buying men quantums and the horrific stories that we get or we hear from Twitter. That money, if you're going to withdraw it, make sure it's for your benefit. Make sure it grows you. Make sure it expands your financial position. I hope you learned something. And tell me in the comment section, are you planning on withdrawing your money and why? I know I'm not supposed to be asking you about what you're doing with your money, but I just want to find out, do you think it's a good thing or do you think it's a bad thing? And before I go, I asked one of my friends some money hacks so that I can share with you. And today's tip is whatever you do on your first date, split the bill half. I know women are going to be like, oh no, why are you taking me on a date and we're splitting the bill half? But for men, it makes financial sense because, I mean, if I don't know you, you're a stranger, why am I paying 2.5 or 3,000 rand to take you on a date? Let's go half is because I don't know you after all. Maybe on the second date, I'll pay for the full thing. Tell me what you think about that tip. It's a way of saving. Do not forget to be love and light and happy financial habits.